The Ruin DLC just got a brand new gameplay trailer, release date, and tons of secrets hidden in the trailer that we're gonna break down and theorize about today, along with some rumors that even more Ruin news is coming next week. Like the video if you're excited for Ruin, but let's just get right into it. So basically, if you missed my last video, recently the Security Breach TV website updated to a brand new monitor box type setup, presumably for the Ruin DLC, of course, since we've been waiting for an update on it ever since the announcement last May. However, while we'll talk about this teaser later, Steelwool Studios tweeted out earlier today saying, "Hey guys, I just started this job, but everyone keeps commenting something about Ruin. I found this on my hard drive. Is this it?" Linking to us a brand new trailer simply titled Five Nights at Freddy's Security Breach Ruin DLC gameplay trailer. And the contents of this trailer are honestly pretty insane. The first shot of the trailer shows us back at the Pizzaplex with a brand new character who we learn in the audio of the trailer is named Cassie, who is breaking their way through the entrance of the Pizzaplex that is blocked off with a bunch of newspaper and is abandoned with graffiti all over the walls. We are then shown a couple shots of the familiar Pizzaplex, but instead this time in a much darker and scarier way than what we saw in the original game. There's places such as Monty's golf area and many other spots around the Pizzaplex that have now seemingly been abandoned. And while these abandoned shots are being shown, we hear Gregory himself from the main game begin to talk to the main character Cassie, who we saw earlier, saying, "Cassie, I hope you get this message. I'm trapped here at the Pizzaplex, or what's left of it. I don't have time to go into how I got here, but you got to help me out. Save me, Cassie, please. It's so dark down here." And what's interesting is that these shots we see of the abandoned Pizzaplex seem to all be areas that we've already played in the game, of course. However, like what we theorized, they've all been torn apart and left here for years on years, and perhaps most chilling of all, there's basically no lights on inside of the Pizzaplex at all, being almost pitch black in every single scene of the trailer, playing into the horror elements that the developers have said they were wanting to maximize with this new DLC. After a few more cool shots from the perspective of the new protagonist Cassie, we get to see a brand new version of Roxanne Wolf, who this time has absolutely no face and is almost pure endoskeleton, which looks extremely terrifying, and is really reminiscent of FNAF 2 Withered Bonnie with the missing face completely. Next up in the trailer, we see Cassie holding a brand new remote item here, which is presumably going to be our new companion device, similar to Gregory's Fazwatch. And based on what we see here, this new device has speaker holes, so we'll presumably be using it to talk or hear stuff in some way, but there's also these antenna slash plug looking things on the top, so this device will probably be used to progress through the game in some new and unique ways, as we will see later in this trailer. We then get another shot of the Pizzaplex with an endoskeleton coming alive, along with a torn apart, shattered Glamrock Chica, who appears to be much more put together than the rest, but still looks horrifying nonetheless. This next scene shows us something we've probably all been waiting for, and it's a shot of the monitor teaser that we have been seeing on the Security Breach TV website for a little while now, and now we get to see it in action as we are able to click on the box and then access a camera station showing us a look throughout the map. So it seems like that this item with the new character is going to replace Gregory's Fazwatch from the base game, and instead of using that, we're going to be using these cameras here. We can actually also see in the top left of this that these are named camera stations, which most likely means there's going to be dedicated stations all around the map to use the cameras in one spot instead of being able to take it around with us, which I honestly like, because for one, it makes using the cameras a lot riskier, and also two, it means we will hopefully be using the cameras less, since to be honest, I'm not huge on using the cameras in the base game. In fact, for a split second, we can even see a little model of Cassie, which looks a bit funny, but it lets us see the camera station in action. Another cool thing about the camera station is in the bottom left, it says to press E to use the intercom, which I can only assume is a new feature that's going to be similar to Five Nights at Freddy's 3, where we can press it to play fake sounds and drag the animatronics away from our location, which would be a really cool callback in my opinion. The next scene shows us using the remote looking thing and actually plugging it into this wire station here, presumably as some sort of puzzle, I guess, similar maybe to the wire puzzles from Among Us or something, but they appear to be missing some wires here, so I guess that'll be the objective of this section. Then in the next scene, we are shown a brand new item being a Roxanne walkie-talkie, and we can hear us as the player telling Gregory on the walkie-talkie to run, which is interesting because it means throughout the DLC we will have some sort of means of communication with Gregory himself while we presumably try to save him from the Pizzaplex he's trapped in. Perhaps maybe we'll actually have to play as two characters in the game, playing first person of course as Cassie, the new protagonist, but also at the same time having to watch out and save Gregory whenever he finds himself in some sort of trouble to ensure he stays safe. I don't know, but in the next scene we are shown another shot where the character finds themselves interacting with Monty, who instead of being shattered splintered or withered, is completely missing his body and is just an endoskeleton, which in my opinion is probably the scariest of them all. I don't know, there's something so haunting about seeing a completely torn apart animatronic try to tear through the fence and try to get us. Next up, we get another shot of us actually on the Monty roller coaster in his golf area, jumping out of it, which is a really cool cutscene animation as well, before we then get some other shots showing Shattered Chica again, which is cool. But then we get to see a full-blown jump scare animation from Monty Alligator, showing his absolutely horrifying features once again, which I love. And we even in this animation see Cassie fight a bit against Monty, grabbing his teeth before being bit, which looks phenomenal as a jump scare animation. Following this, we then get our first look at what I think is Glamrock Freddy himself, correct me if I'm wrong, who we don't see much of at all in this teaser. But in this little section, we can see that he's missing parts of his shell as well. And while I'm only speculating here, last Halloween when we got a Steam sale for the base security breach, we actually randomly got an official render release that showed us an all new Shattered Freddy render here, which I assume is most likely what his face is going to look like when showing up in the actual game. This is then followed up by another jump scare, this time of Roxanne Wolf, which once again looks phenomenal. And we even get to see a jump scare from the daycare attendant, who looks completely deformed like the rest, and also seems to have almost a Foxy and FNAF 2 like jump scare where he just kind of jumps out of nowhere, which once again looks great. But then things start to get really weird as we see ourselves in the next scene in the daycare putting on the Vanni mask and then wearing it as some sort of item. We even get to see a bit of what the inside of the mask looks like as well. But what's interesting about this mask is that I saw some people like Dawko in their own videos point out that this mask actually has a strand of hair on the top if you look really closely, which matches some of the older designs of the Vanni mask compared to the one that we actually see in Security Breach, where the hairs are vacant, meaning that this was intentionally put to be a different mask than the one from Vanni herself, interestingly enough. But after putting on the mask for a split second, we can see a weird grid-like design of the pizzaplex, possibly giving us an ability to see through the walls and in the dark, and maybe spot out other threats we couldn't see in the darkness. Then the trailer is interrupted by a random flash on the screen showing us some sort of unidentified rabbit-like character glitching around, most likely a new mystery antagonist to take Vanni's place. However, while I'm completely unsure on who this character is, I saw a lot of people claiming this was a Glamrock Bonnie or the Mimic or something in that vein, but to be completely honest, it's way too vague to make any clear assumptions. However, after this scene, the trailer then ends, giving us an official release window of July of 2023, meaning literally in the next 2 months, Ruin is finally going to be coming out. So wow, this trailer was absolutely massive, but what does it all mean? Well, based on everything we know from the trailer and the poster we got last year, it's safe to theorize that this is most likely going to pick off on the end of Security Breach's story. More specifically, this seems to pick up after the Afton ending, where the building comes crumbling down before Gregory, which would explain how he got stuck. But I have also seen some people theorize it could be after the Princess Quest ending, since that's when we get 3 stars in the game. However, either way, this then brings up the question, how long into the future is this DLC? Well, just looking at the pizzaplex, it looks like literal years have passed since it was first torn apart, and in fact, we know a lot of time has passed, since we can see when Cassie enters the pizzaplex, it already has tons of newspaper and graffiti all over it, suggesting months of wear and tear were already done to the place. But then an even bigger question comes up, that if the place was abandoned for years with Gregory stuck inside of it, how did he even survive that long? I thought about it for a bit, but I've been running in circles. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. But let's talk about this new character Cassie a little bit as well. Who in the world is she? Well, on the surface, she appears to be somebody completely new. She visually looks different. She has a brand new name. Everything about her sounds like somebody completely new. However, you guys know the developers and how they like to add secrets, so while this is most likely the case, people have pointed out that Cassie sounds unbelievably close to the name Cassidy, which, if you didn't know, is the real name for Golden Freddy. So some are now theorizing that maybe this Cassie girl has an origin story underneath that we are missing out upon that probably has something to do with Golden Freddy, but we probably won't know much about that until the game releases. Also, another thing I was wondering is, how did Gregory communicate with Cassie to get her to come inside of this abandoned horror show of a pizzaplex? Well, like what we said earlier, the trailer begins with Gregory saying, "Cassie, I hope you get this message. I'm trapped here at the pizzaplex, or what's left of it. I don't have time to go into how I got here, but you gotta help me out. Save me, Cassie, please. It's so dark down here." So clearly, somehow he was able to send her a message remotely into the outside world. I don't know if that's going to be through some sort of videotapes or something, but looking at the original teaser poster from last year, we could see that Gregory getting lost and asking for help is personified by these TVs where he communicates with us. More specifically, we could see him running around and in sorts sorts of fear, but in this left one down here, we can see a stressed Gregory standing there with the text saying, "Help me," which makes me wonder if he was somehow able to send a text or even a video to Cassie to call for her help or something in that vein. I don't know, I'm just throwing out some ideas. But I guess questions aside, I honestly just have to give props to the developers because this trailer looks phenomenal. We can see that it seems they took the approach that everybody has been begging them to do, that of which being a more scary and ferocious type of design in the Pizzaplex. It's a lot darker and spookier, and the animatronic designs are genuinely terrifying. So they clearly did their research on how to make a scary game here. In fact, we can see that they solved a lot of fundamental issues with the Pizzaplex building itself, as in the original, the Pizzaplex was so big and empty, it was hard for it to really be scary. But in this trailer, we can see that there's tons of rubble around every single area, making it feel a lot more claustrophobic, which I love. Or I guess I should say I'm about to hate, because I can already tell moving through the entire Pizzaplex in complete darkness, watching for horrifying beasts is going to be some nightmare fuel. I mean, obviously, there's still a ton of issues that need to be solved with Security Breach before Ruin is good, like the optimization of the game, and we won't be able to know how good or bad it is until it releases, but just based on the design, I love this so much more than the original. I would honestly say the only real concerns I have with this trailer is that sometimes it seems like we are going to be in literal pitch black, which while good for building the scary environment we've been hoping for, it could get to be a bit of overkill, and I can already see it getting pretty annoying trying to navigate through complete darkness, and it also might get easy to get lost in this type of environment. I mean, I've seen some people theorize that these things that we see in the trailer are possibly going to be used to turn on the power and be able to see once again, but otherwise the darkness does seem like it could get a bit overkill at times. However, now that the trailer is out, this then brings up the question, what is going to be next for the game? Well, we're most likely going to get a release date trailer at some point in the near future that's going to tell us the actual date when the game releases, and maybe we'll even get some extra teasers showing us more about the game, which I will be breaking down here, of course. But something I'm still curious about is what's going to happen with the Security Breach TV website that I just mentioned in the beginning of this video. Because if we go and look back on the site today, it has finally updated, but all it is a link in a launch page that leads to the base trailer that I just broke down, which I guess is fine, but it still feels like something is missing here. And to me, it sounds like this website is either going to have some new teasers in the near future, or at least it was going to. Because we do remember on IMDb, there were some rumors of a new Security Breach show, which has since been supposedly confirmed as fake officially, but I still don't buy that this new teaser was all for nothing. And it seems like something is or was supposed to happen to this website, but they just canceled it. However, there's rumors that we're going to get another teaser next week for Ruin, as on May 24th, there's going to be a brand new PlayStation showcase, which people speculate is going to show off a brand new Ruin teaser, or at least they might showcase the trailer we already got and talk a bit more about the DLC. However, other than that, I have absolutely no complaints about the state of Ruin, as the new DLC is about to drop super soon, and hopefully everything goes to plan for a July release. No delays, no bugs, no messy launch. I do wonder what's going to happen after Ruin releases. Maybe there will be new games in the future, or maybe even different free or paid DLCs coming into the game itself. I'm not sure, but that's looking too far ahead. To hear more about Ruin news when it comes out in the future, make sure to subscribe here, and peace.